Hi, Professor Dean.
Hello.
Hi. We'll wait for 1 to 2 more minutes, wait for more parents to join, and then we'll get started.
Sure. Okay. Sounds good.
Okay, so let's get started. Welcome, everyone. My name is Yuan, and today we have the great pleasure to welcome USACO Director Dr. Brian Dean to come to our event. Let's hear from USACO Director Dr. Brian Ask Me Anything event. So XCamp, this event is we will partner with our Calico, UC Berkeley Calico, and the Stanford Proco, and the Teams Code Hacker Programming Club, and also Lexington Informatics Tournament. So we will first have a XCamp introduction, and then we will have the Ask Me Anything session, and then in the end, for parents that are interested in XCamp, feel free to stay for longer to hear from our principal, Charlie, for the open house. Here's a quick introduction for Dr. Brian Dean. Dr. Dean has led and contributed to the USACO as the director and the staff for more than 20 years. He's the professor and the C. Title holder director of computer science at School of Computing, Clemson University. And he's also the IOI 1994 silver medal representing the US team. And Brian Dean also got his undergraduate and graduate degrees from MIT in computer science major. A quick introduction for myself. I'm the co-founder and the president of XCamp. I had just 5 years experience at Google. And right now I'm the head of teaching and also leading the instruction team to ensure the good quality of the curriculum at XCamp. Okay, so given some of our parents, they are probably their kids are still beginner level here, so they probably don't know what is USACO. I will have a very quick introduction. USACO is a abbreviation. It's short for USA Computing Olympiad, and in short, it will use 4 hours to 5 hours to use 3 problems to test students' ability to use algorithm, math, and data structure, and the contest will test students' ability to do computational thinking and problem solving, and it will prepare students in order to do very good performance in USACO. Students need to master one of the programming language, have the algorithm design knowledge, work with the data structure as well, and eventually the students wanted to have a very good problem-solving skills with enough practice. With that in mind, now let's come to the Ask Me Anything section. We do collect some questions from our past and also from our parents. and we will go over those several questions first. And then after that, we welcome all the parents to post their questions in the Zoom chat. And later, we're going to go over those questions too. Okay, so now let's welcome Dr. Ding. And let me go to the first question. So the first question is more about the USACO competition. So just a side note, since the very beginning, XCamp treat academic integrity as the first priority. And we have been educating students that you have to put the honesty and the fairness as a first priority. Without that, everything else can be just something that you build would not be rely on something very solid if you don't have the honesty. So we totally understand it's quite challenging to balance between contest coverage in areas and ages and the academic integrity. We would be more than happy to support any effort from a USACO official to support any new policies or new approaches. But we do see this is a topic that parents brought up for a lot of time. So we do want to get the opinion from our USACO Director Dr. about the new policy and any new potential policy that will be implemented in the future. And also, what's your suggestion for students to get used to these new policies? Yeah, thank you.
Okay. Well, thank you. First of all, thank you for inviting me to speak with you guys, and definitely don't be shy about asking questions. I'll keep one eye on the chat window if you do have additional questions beyond the ones that are being asked here. So I guess starting with a tricky one, actually. So academic integrity is an extremely important subject. It means a lot to me and the staff of the USACO. It's something that we talk about often. And it's a challenging issue, especially because our competitions are given in an online format. And so we, due to that format, we don't have direct proctoring and things like that in our competitions. And so coming up with mechanisms to ensure the integrity of our contests is a challenge. But it is something that we look for solutions. We're trying to find good solutions for always. I think we took a really important step forward last year. We introduced the notion of a certified contest result. So part of the challenge with our contest also is that the competition, we opened it up for a 4-day window, and students can compete anytime during that 4-day window. They can click to start their personal timer anytime during that window. And that also creates challenges for academic integrity because it's hard to prevent someone from downloading the problems with an account early in the window and then working on them throughout the entire 4-day window and then logging on and submitting their solutions at the very end. And so to mitigate that issue, we introduced the notion of a certified contest result this past year. So in the Platinum division, in our highest division, students that want to have their results kind of count with more I guess with a certified result, so they count with more weight. Then every Saturday we open the contest in the Platinum division specifically at the same time for everybody, and everyone has the same 4 or 5 hour window to take the contest. So nobody will have seen the problems earlier than that. And if you take the contest in that specific time frame on the Saturday of the contest window, then your result is called a certified result, and it carries more weight, more importance when determining whether you should be invited as a finalist to our training camp. So that, I think, has gone a long way towards kind of mitigating cheating by having access to the problems earlier and then working on them for longer than you should have available. So we do ask for students interested in being considered as finalists for our training camp, we ask that they have at least, out of our 4 contests, at least 3 of them should be certified results, ideally 4. But that ensures at least that the students that are vying for finalist status, their results at least are somewhat more believable. And so we think that that has gone a long way towards kind of fixing some of the academic integrity concerns at the high levels of our contest. And so speaking with my coaches at our training camp, which we held about a week or 2 ago, we think that this is a good first step, and that we're hoping next season to extend this to our gold division as well as the platinum division. So we will have kind of one specific time window when you can take the contest and when the results will count with more weight, basically. The exact details we're still working out because now that we have 2 divisions worth of competitions that are going to be certified, are the certified competition windows going to be held at exactly the same time? Are they going to be staggered somewhat? We're working on the policies for that. I think my hope is that they would be held at the same time, but we're still trying to kind of get a final policy there. That's probably the main change that will happen in the next year. Is kind of an expansion of the notion of a certified contest. Basically the contest window being very narrow for a result that counts with full weight. And of course, you can take the contest outside of that window. It just won't have, your result won't have quite as much weight as it would if you took the contest during that window. That's probably the main change that we're looking at in terms of academic integrity. We've looked at and considered several other things as well, but I think the goal is to kind of roll things out gradually and see how they work, and assess kind of from that point. So maybe I'll leave it there, and if there are further questions, happy to address, but we can maybe move on to other questions as well.
Yeah, thank you so much. We do see USACO officials are improving the contest integrity part year by year, and we are so happy to see these changes because that really means the hard work from the staff, from the teachers, from the coaches, from the students are paying off. Thank you so much for making all these really hard work and the real effort. Thank you. Our next question is that is actually related to the certification that we just talked about. Yeah, I guess some of the part of the question were already answered. So basically, is whether it will be extended to other levels, and I guess this part is not answered yet. Do candidates need to achieve a certified score in all 4 exams to have a chance of being selected for the national training camp?
So I think, so as I mentioned, we are hoping to extend the certified contest idea to the gold division, as well as being in platinum this next year. And in terms of the number of certified scores that you would need, I think we're going to continue with the same policy. So we would say, ideally, all of your scores should be certified, but it's okay. We understand that people have other scheduling constraints, and so it's okay if you have only 3 out of the 4 contests as certified contests. I think with gold now being certified, there will probably also be a requirement that if you're going to promote from gold to platinum, that promotion can only happen if that's in a certified contest. So those would be the main changes.
Got it. Yeah, thank you so much. So then let's move on to the next question. So for parents and students, if you still have more questions about the certification part, feel free to post it in the Zoom chat. So the next question is about the changes that students and parents they've observed for the past season. They feel like the difficulty of the silver level has increased for the past year. And could you help provide your assessments from the USACO officials' point of view? And could there be some adjustment in the future? And also, for my part, is that we would really be curious to know what's the design vision between different levels so that the parents and students can adjust based on that. Thank you.
Sure. This is interesting. It's you're almost reading our minds. The discussion that I had with my coaches at the end of camp, we went over what we considered to be the most pressing issues for the USACO, and academic integrity was probably one of the foremost issues. But another one that we've definitely heard quite a bit of feedback is this issue. So the issue of silver division getting more complicated. We often hear that the bronze division is getting much more complicated than it was intended, and even the coaches recognize that even the gold division had some very challenging contests in the recent years. So we're definitely aware of the issue that some of the lower divisions have crept upwards in terms of difficulty, and we are hoping to address that, especially, I think, in our minds. I think the bronze division is even more of a priority because we want to make sure that that's approachable for new students. If the bronze division is not approachable, then we lose students right off the bat, and that's not a good thing. We want to encourage them to get started. It's maybe not quite as critical if the gold division is a little bit too difficult in one contest. That's maybe not a terrible thing. That maybe hopefully inspires students even more to try harder and whatnot. But I definitely hear this concern about silver because I've also witnessed the silver division creeping upwards in difficulty. So the coaches are planning to make a very conscious effort in the next year to try and recalibrate the contest difficulties to make the bronze division more approachable, and the same thing for silver and gold to make sure that the difficulty is not set too high. And just so that everyone's aware of kind of the intent of the divisions, the bronze division, that's where everybody starts out. That is supposed to be approachable for students who have learned how to program but don't really have any algorithmic training in their background. The problems are designed to be such that you can kind of figure them out kind of from first principles if you haven't had any specific algorithms training. And that still has been mostly true, but the problems have gotten quite challenging over the years, and we hope to kind of push back on that a bit. One of our challenges is that most of our problem setters are champions from the IOI, and so their level of calibration for entry-level programming contest problems is maybe not ideal. So I'm probably myself going to take a more active role in making sure that the bronze level problems are set properly. I think maybe another factor in all of this is the advent of generative AI systems like ChatGPT, because I think the coaches are all worried that if we make the problems too easy, then that opens up a risk on the academic integrity front that students would be able to answer the questions with generative AI. And I think it's going to be a tricky balance between those things. We want to make sure that the bronze problems are unique and interesting enough that they'd be challenging for a system like ChatGPT to answer, but they still need to be approachable. So we are indeed hoping to make a conscious effort to improve this issue, to make bronze approachable. The silver division should be problems where you use basic algorithms and data structures. And we don't really have a syllabus that outlines exactly what to expect in the silver division. We somewhat rely on precedent here, but basically kind of, I would say, fundamental algorithms and data structures are kind of what the silver division is testing. So this is, for students that are just starting along their algorithmic journey and learning some of the first steps in that direction. So the gold division is really where we expect students to understand, still standard algorithms, but maybe more sophisticated standard algorithms like dynamic programming or sophisticated graph algorithms, shortest paths, more sophisticated data structures, things like that. So the gold division is supposed to be for students who have a relatively good understanding of standard algorithms and data structure design techniques. And then once you get to the Platinum division, that's where you are expected to be able to kind of synthesize, ideas by kind of combining advanced algorithms and data structures in novel ways. So that goes well beyond learning the basics once you reach the Platinum level. Okay, so a question in the chat. Can you give some examples of fundamental algorithms in USACO Silver? So just a couple of them. So we would certainly expect students to know things like sorting, and algorithms like maybe you sort the input and you scan across the input in sorted order and use some sort of a data structure as you go to answer a problem. Fundamental data structures, things like sets, maps, priority queues might appear in Silver. Familiarity with kind of basic search algorithms, so kind of recursively searching for a path from point A to point B in a graph. Those would be the types of things that I would expect to find in the Silver division. Once you get to the Gold division, I would expect to find more advanced algorithmic topics, things like dynamic programming, graph algorithms like min-spanning trees and shortest paths. So maybe slightly more advanced data structures, things like segment trees and whatnot, more advanced incarnations of binary search trees, that sort of thing I would expect to appear in the Gold division. But the Silver division should still be relatively straightforward ideas in terms of algorithms and data structures.
Yeah, thanks a lot for the answers to this question. I also want to remind all the parents and students that preparing 4 levels per contest, and this 4 contests per year is like 3 times 4 times 4. It's a lot of question to prepare in a year, and it's a huge amount of effort that needs to be done to create innovative new ideas of problems each year. And let's also take the chance to thank Dr. Brian Dean for his great leadership to lead all the coaches in the official side to create such a great platform for everyone to compete in this platform. Yeah, thank you so much. And also, I want to mention, believe it or not, it's actually much harder to create the bronze and silver level of problems, given we don't want to duplicate the questions, and in the same time we want to make them fun and innovative.
There's a lot of truth to that. Yes, it's extremely hard to come up with a fun and interesting bronze level problem that is unique from previous problems, and it is indeed quite challenging at the lower level. It's challenging at all levels, but people don't expect it to be as challenging as it is at the lower levels. So sorry, didn't mean to interrupt you there.
Oh, no worry. Yeah, I do want to say, I know there's a tool that can be used to determine whether a problem idea has been created in the past or not, based on large language model. Probably later I can send a link to you that can help the authors of a problem to determine whether the problem has appeared somewhere in the past before. Okay, so let's now come to the 4th question. I think this question has already been answered in the previous question. Dr. Ding, do you have anything else that you want to add for this question?
I think mostly touched on the answer to this one. If people have follow-up questions, happy to answer, but I think we've mostly addressed this one.
Sure. So now let's come to the next one. For students participating in USACO, it becomes increasingly challenging to advance as they reach higher levels, such as gold and platinum. What advice would you offer to these students?
So my standard advice here is lots of practice. It is indeed challenging when you get to the gold division and the platinum division. I would myself be quite intimidated if I were competing in our contest at those levels. In my experience, there is just a very strong correlation between the number of problems you've solved as practice and the performance that you have in these contests. So definitely work through lots of example problems from past competitions. On our website, you can find something like 12, 13 years of old problems and their solutions, and you can submit solutions and see if they would get full marks. So definitely a good resource. And on the internet, of course, you can find online judges with thousands of old contest problems available. So there's a tremendous amount of potential out there to kind of help you with learning. There are also lots of YouTube videos and blogs and websites that help explain different topics. One that I definitely would put in a plug for is the USACO guide, which has been created by a lot of our alums. It's not officially run by USACO, but it's run by a lot of our coaches and alums. And that's a very well curated resource. It has a lot of very good explanation for topics at all levels of the competition. So definitely go through those things. At the advanced levels, it can indeed be a challenge. It's nice if you can find a club, a student club, or some other sort of mentorship structure so you can talk about the contest ideas with other people. So if you don't have one at your school, maybe it's good to start something like that at your school so you can work with your fellow students to communicate about the problems. And in my experience, I have learned a lot about algorithmic problem solving by explaining ideas about problems to other people. That's really helped me a lot. So definitely find a network of support in your area. You guys are conveniently in an area where there should hopefully be a lot of options for that. Places like XCamp can definitely help as well with instructors who know how to approach these types of problems. So there are lots of resources out there. But basically practice. Nobody gets good at this overnight. It takes a lot of hard effort and work to really be a world-class competitor in something like USACO.
Yeah, thanks a lot for the answer to this question. So now let's come to the next one. In the era of AI development, what is the significance of programming competitions and in general, always in learning and coding, and also USACO competition itself? Yeah, and also, is there a chance that in the future that AI-related content could be included in some of the competitive programming exams?
It's possible. This is an interesting question. So in the last maybe 2 or 3 years, we have seen kind of the world being upended by AI. It's really created like a seismic change in the field of computing. And so it would not surprise me if competitive programming was impacted as a result. And this forced us to kind of move in a direction that is a little bit more kind of AI receptive in terms of the types of concepts or problems that we ask. That could be a challenge because a lot of AI involves topics that are not exactly high school level. So we would certainly be interested in coming up with problem ideas that are kind of AI adjacent or that involve topics related to AI. That's not an easy thing to do, but we would definitely be interested in trying to consider that. Those types of problems are maybe not necessarily in the same style as traditional Olympiad style programming contest problems. So it would take a bit of thought to try and figure out how to incorporate ideas from AI and merge them with kind of our existing problem styles in the best way. I would love to see that. I think that would be helpful for our students because we definitely, one of our goals is not only to get students inspired by algorithmic problem solving, but to help train them in modern techniques that will be useful for them down the road. And so helping them to learn about concepts in AI would definitely be a win if we can figure out how to do that. That will be a challenge, of course, just because those concepts are tricky, perhaps, to implement in a setting at the high school level where students don't have a tremendous amount of mathematical background usually and whatnot. So we're giving that some thought, and we might see what we can implement in our problems that kind of dovetail with this AI revolution. But that's an interesting question. It's something that we would like to kind of look at moving forward. In terms of AI-related kind of significance to programming contests, I mean, there's also the exposure to academic integrity issues from things like ChatGPT. That's always on our mind. I think so far that we're a little bit ahead of that curve. So most of our advanced programming contest problems are still out of reach, I think, for systems like ChatGPT. But at the bronze level, it's definitely getting to be more challenging. And during a contest, I can definitely see that students they are definitely using these AI generative systems to submit solutions to problems. Sometimes they're not getting the answers right always, but it's definitely apparent that this is an issue that we need to contend with. So a lot of interesting moving parts with this trend of AI. It's exciting that AI has done all these remarkable things, and we need to definitely adapt, I think, to stay relevant in the era of AI. But yeah, we don't have a solid answer to this question yet. It's an ongoing thing.
Yeah, thanks a lot for the answer. I do notice that Brandon mentioned that we have to adapt to stay relevant. So I guess learning algorithm, learning coding, and also learning computational thinking is exactly one of the best approach to stay relevant with AI because we've seen so many top class AI researchers and entrepreneurs. They are exactly coming from the USACO path. Okay, so let's come to the next question.
I guess if I can say just one or two more things quickly about AI. So it is interesting. I think maybe I made it sound like the techniques in our contests are not relevant to AI. They actually are. So what you learn when you study competitive programming, you learn kind of generic problem-solving techniques. And when you grow up and enter the workforce, you're not solving problems that are exactly the same as what you would see in a competitive programming context. But the techniques that you learn are definitely relevant. They definitely help in terms of making you a better researcher or a better software engineer or whatnot. I myself, in my own research, often use ideas that I learned in competitive programming to solve problems more effectively. So I think even if the problems that we ask aren't directly about AI systems or whatnot, they nonetheless can still help people with learning about AI. And you're right, a lot of our alums have gone on to do remarkable things in that space. So just to give one example, we had a talk at our camp a week or two ago from Demi Guo, who was she's been a coach for USACO for several years, and she was an IOI team member about 10 years ago. And now she's the CEO of Pika, a company that is at the forefront of generative AI in the space of generating video from a text prompt. And they've generated a huge amount of buzz in the Silicon Valley area with almost $100 million plus of funding. And so remarkable achievement for someone who started their journey as a USACO finalist. So let's I guess continue on.
Sure. Yeah. Thanks, Brandon. And Demigo is also one of my dad's student, and also she used to have a talk at XCamp too. She's
Nice.
always inspiring the student in combat programming to step into AI, and also for girls too. So talking about that, the next question is that
Good
exactly
segue.
about girls. Do girls also have the opportunity to getting selected into IOI? I guess a related question is going to be the EGOI selection process. What challenges do girls face in programming competitions? And what kind of advice would you offer to girls participating in USACO competitions, as well as the combative programming in general? Thank you.
Sure. Also, an important topic that we care a lot about, diversity and broadening participation in computing. As everyone is probably aware, the demographics right now at the high school level in computing are not ideal. And that continues on through undergraduate level computer science at the university level, and even into the workforce and whatnot. So there are some very stubborn trends that we're trying to work to overcome. There's nothing fundamentally preventing things from being more balanced. So I know a lot of female competitors who are amazing in their abilities and whatnot. So there's absolutely no reason why we can't have more equitable representation between boys and girls in terms of finalists and IOI team members. And I would love to see that. And USACO would love to find ways to promote that. One of the ways that we're doing that is by bringing a cohort of top female students to our camp to train them for EGOI team selection. And I think that has definitely helped a lot in terms of kind of improving the atmosphere at our camp and inspiring more female students to shoot for IOI finalist status. So hopefully this down the road we'll see an improvement in terms of more representation on the IOI team. But I think the challenges girls face right now are basically just kind of they're historical based on the momentum of the existing inequity of numbers of guys versus girls. There's nothing fundamentally preventing more female students from excelling in our competitions. So if there are any female students on this call, I would highly encourage you to stay with it. It's probably challenging to make progress in the field if you look around and you're the only female in the room in some settings, I would imagine. And that's definitely a challenge. But please, you have my full encouragement to continue onwards. If you want, look for some good role models to help inspire you, like Demi, for example. Just remarkable people who have started their journey exactly where you are today, and as kind of aspiring USACO competitors, and they made the IOI team and then went to a prestigious university, and now they're running a company that is at the forefront of artificial intelligence. So lots of exciting things you can accomplish in this field, and so don't feel like there's any reason to be held back by this issue. I think I'm optimistic that moving forward things will get better, but there's just been this kind of stubborn, persistent inequity over time, and there are many contributing factors to that, I think, but hopefully we'll be able to improve that situation moving forward.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Dr. Ding. And to echo Dr. Ding's full encouragement to girls at X Camp, we also provide very strong support to help girls to work together. For example, we do have a girls coding club, and also for some girls who are competing for the EGOI finalist level, or maybe in Platinum level, we have more regular check-in to make sure the girls feel encouraged, because often the time they are indeed the only girl or only several girls in the room. So we do want to make sure female students, they got the equal opportunities to compete, to get trained, and also they feel supported all the time. So now let's come to the next question. For the past season, there were some students who experienced some issues with either their own hacking issue, or they may feel a temporary shortage of the website, of the USACO website. So they are always wondering how they can react in a better way when things like that happen. What kind of recommendation would you provide for them? Thank you.
Also a good question. So this past season was for me in particular a challenge, because I'm the one sitting here watching the contest as it's running, and for some reason this was the season that everyone decided, hey, let's see if we can attack the USACO contest server, which is something that we focused most of our energy in the past on developing strong contest problems and whatnot, and our infrastructure was good, but it was never really designed to be resilient against large-scale coordinated attacks. We never expected that there would be threat actors out there that would be interested enough in doing that kind of thing. But apparently this season, enough bored people decided to try and cause trouble with our contests. And this was heartbreaking because in the middle of a contest, if you get hit by a denial of service attack, there's just not much that can be done. If there are 100 people taking the contest at that point in time, it's very hard to find a way to remedy the situation for them. And my heart goes out to the poor folks that were affected by that issue this season. We have taken quite a few efforts to kind of harden our infrastructure, and we've migrated our entire system now to a setup that should be resilient in light of the possibility of these sorts of attacks. So I'm hoping that this question will not be necessary to answer in the future, that the system will be able to sustain any sort of issues like this. It's impossible to know for sure. So I think the main thing is, if you're taking a contest and the website temporarily becomes inactive, I mean, the internet is a complicated place. So sometimes there are just outages, and sometimes you'll find a spike in load where 20 people submit a solution all at once, and that causes slow responsiveness from the system or the grading infrastructure. I would basically just take that in stride, and if you're not getting feedback immediately from your submission, know that it's at least been recorded and it will be graded. So just kind of proceed as without letting that phase you. If the entire website seems to go down for some reason, you're probably, it's either your internet connection or ours. If it's ours, lots of people are being affected. And so if the issue persists, it's hard to know what to do about that. You can always, email me your code by the end of the contest window if you really want to make sure that there's a record of your submissions by the end of the contest. But we're really hoping that in this upcoming season and beyond, that this is no longer going to be a significant issue.
Yeah, thanks a lot. So in another word, my understanding is that if there's anything abnormal happening or going on, please feel free to log in as much as you can and communicate with Dr. Dean as soon as possible, and make sure things are recorded in a way, and also make sure your codes also sent through so that everything is recorded in the email as well.
Mhm.
Yeah, I guess that's all the questions that I collected several days ago, but I do see more questions just came up in the Zoom chat. Some of them are sent privately to me. So I guess we can go over them one by one as long as we still have some time in our designed duration of the meeting.
Sure. I've got the chat in front of me, so I can definitely
Sure.
address some of these. Let me see. So it looks like a couple of these we've talked about. So good question. How would the in-contest promotion work when we have the certified contest windows? So one downside of having certified contest windows is that does make it more challenging for in-contest promotion. Currently, we have a 4-day contest window, so a very talented student could take the bronze contest and get a high enough score to promote in contest, and then take the silver contest and get a high enough score to promote in contest. So you could actually take multiple contests in the same window, basically, and promote by several levels. That may end up being more challenging in the future, and that might just be an inevitable result of moving towards restricting the contest windows. So that's a trade-off that we might have to deal with, just making it slightly slower to promote, but ensuring greater degrees of academic integrity. So we're still looking at ways that we can possibly mitigate that, but I suspect it might just take a little bit, it may not be possible to promote from bronze all the way to platinum in the same contest in the future. Is USACO going to combat alt accounts? So I think that also is mitigated by the certified contest window, because if that exists, there's less of an incentive to create an alternate account, because in the past, you could have an alternate account where you log in at the beginning of the 4-day window, download the problems, and then solve them over 4 days and upload them at the end of the contest. If we have a certified contest window, that's less relevant. So hopefully the certified contest windows will mitigate the issue of alternate accounts to a reasonable extent. What approximate code forces rating corresponds to each USACO division? I'm actually not sure. I don't really follow code forces, so somebody else probably would know a better answer to that question than I would. Is creating a spectator account to upsolve problems from lower divisions allowed? So you can create a guest account. Just make sure that your year is set to 9999, so that you're in the observer division and not competing as a student, because I don't want to see the student scoreboards in the lower divisions kind of polluted by experts who are solving the lower division problems and who really shouldn't be in the lower divisions. But it's okay to create an observer account. Sure, that's fine. When will the list of USACO finalists be updated? Oh dear. Any day now, as soon as I can get around to it. I've just been slow on updating that list, and we've now named the IOI and the EGOI teams for this year as well. So hopefully I can post all of that information very soon. Our training camp ran at the end of May, so that has all been decided at this point. So the main thing is just me getting around to everything.
Sure. Thanks, Dr. Ding. That's all the questions that we can see in public. So I do have several questions that the parents sent me in private. I can read them one by one. The first question is, how are 24-25 season USACO exam questions created? Are there any principles or preferences? For example, do they prefer more algorithmic questions?
They definitely prefer algorithmic questions. I mean, the overall theme of all of our problems is algorithms and data structures. So our camp coaches, we have a network of coaches that work together to create the problems, and they're all of an algorithmic nature. I actually just got a direct message question that's a good one. The question is, if one promotes to platinum in December, which is our first contest of the 4 that we offer, and then does well in the 3 platinum contests that follow, can they go to camp? The answer is yes, because then you would have at least 3 certified platinum contest results, so that would be fine.
Yeah, thanks. So the second question that I saw is, if I have doubts about my score, how should I appeal? And how long will it take to get a response? Can the score be changed?
Yes, so contact me if you have any concerns about that, and we can look into what the issue might be. So definitely, yeah, reach out if you have concerns along those lines.
Yeah, thanks. The next question is that I have 2 children at home who need to take the USACO contest, one at silver level and one at bronze level. Do they need to take the exams at different times?
No, they can take the exam at the same time. If you're worried about like coming from the same IP address, like tripping up our cheater detection infrastructure, I wouldn't worry too much about that. That shouldn't be an issue.
Yeah, thanks. So next one is, why is the USACO training camp scheduled early? Our school exams haven't finished yet. Can it be adjusted to late June in the future by any chance?
It's a challenge to find the right time to schedule. So definitely aware of that issue with bumping into the end of semester in the spring for several schools. The trouble is if we move it much later, then we're starting to compete with very prominent summer programs like the mathematics training camp and whatnot. So it's a challenge. We don't want to lose students because they would opt to attend a different training camp than ours, for example. So I suspect we're probably going to be in a similar sort of window in the future as we have been in the past.
Yeah. So that's all the questions that I saw sent to me in private. I think there are two new questions appearing in public. So the first one is that how many problems does a Platinum competitor typically need to solve in a year to qualify for the USACO national team? Could you please provide some suggestions on how to motivate competitors to practice a sufficient number of problems? Any tips on maintaining a consistent and effective practice routine would be greatly appreciated.
This, I may not be I think probably asking some of our recent competitors would be a good answer here. I probably don't have figures that are as good as they could offer. So maybe we should ask some of our IOI team members, what their practice regimen has been in terms of number of problems that they solved or have solved. In terms of a consistent and effective practice routine, I think that's up to you as an individual. I would kind of argue don't put so much stress on yourself about practice that you totally burn out. You have to kind of spend time doing other things in addition to competitive programming. It's good to give your mind a break, and also do things that will help support your competitive programming as well, like mathematics and whatnot. Can also definitely help your problem solving skills. So everybody's different in terms of what motivates you, what helps you keep on a schedule. So I'm not sure there's a one size fits all answer to this one. But if you know any top competitors, I think XCamp has a couple of top competitors. This might be a good question for them to kind of see what worked for them to get to where they are.
Yeah, thanks, Dr. Dean. Yeah, indeed, we do have several of them start to stay at top of the Platinum level and in the finalists too. And yeah, in separate events, we will probably invite them to meet some of the parents and students to share their learning experience, especially share their passion in coding. My takeaway is that only with sufficient passion in coding and in problem solving, you'll be able to truly invest enough bandwidth into it. So the next question is that, sorry, I lost which question. Yeah. Does it make sense to split US in one weekend and the rest of world in the following weekend?
That's a good question. I think there will be a trend towards focusing more on the US population, certainly with the certified contest system. That doesn't really work for many other people because of time zone issues. And so what you're going to see is primarily US students taking the certified contests and then non-US students not taking certified contests. We're probably also going to move towards only reporting scores for US students. That's not a final decision yet, but I think that's probably the right decision so that we can focus on the US population. A lot of our academic integrity concerns are coming from the non-US segment. And so if those folks don't show up on the scoreboard, there may be less incentive for cheating as well, because there's, you don't show up on the scoreboard as a result. So we definitely probably are going to be prioritizing the US segment of our user base more in the future.
Yeah, thanks. The next question is, will USACO Silver go back to where it was before last season, or will it stay at the same level?
My hope is that it gets easier, along with bronze and gold. We're hoping to make a conscious effort to try and make all of the lower divisions more appropriately calibrated to what we had originally intended for their levels of difficulty. So hopefully bronze, silver, and gold will become a bit more approachable in the next season.
Yeah, thanks, Dr. Dean. Due to time limit, I will try to finish everything within 5 minutes. The next question is that how are USACO camp attendees selected?
Good question. So generally, it's the top competitors in our Platinum division. So we look at your scores over the entire season. And of course, certified scores have a lot more weight than non-certified scores. Typically, the US Open, our kind of championship contest, has a bit more emphasis than the other competitions. And so there's no kind of magic formula that determines camp admission. The coaches basically look at the results and try and make an educated decision about what will be the best option for selecting camp attendees that will sustain our pipeline of students so that we do as well as possible at the IOI. As a result of that, we typically have a higher bar for seniors because if you're a senior, we would only say invite you to camp if there's a realistic shot that you would make the IOI team. Otherwise, we also have a higher bar for students who've already been at our camp because we expect those students to have benefited already from the material they've learned at camp and to show improvement over the past year. But generally, at a high level, it's just the top competitors in our Platinum division that we invite to our camp.
Yeah, thanks. And a related question that was just posted was, are the USACO training pages still used as a factor in determining finalist selection?
Not so much anymore. It's primarily our contest that we use for selection.
Yeah, thank you. So the next question is, do you think we should charge fees for USACO contest? Number one, it can support the infrastructure. Number two, it can increase the cost of cheating.
I think I would favor making the contests lowering the barrier to entry, making things accessible. So I wouldn't be in favor of charging a cost for participants. I think making things open and free and encouraging as many people as possible to compete is good. I definitely hear you on the creating a slight barrier to entry might slightly mitigate cheating, but I think it's more worthwhile to try and encourage more people to participate. In terms of infrastructure costs, we have some very generous sponsors that have helped us out quite a bit. So I'm not too worried about the costs on our side for infrastructure.
Yeah, thanks, Dr. Dean. So the next question is also our last question. How do you determine if someone is in the US? I guess this is related to when we determine whether a student is in the US segment or non-US segment in USACO contest.
I mean, we mostly rely on what they report. If they are, I mean, you can be not in the US and you can still be a USA competitor if you're a US citizen, for example. So we have to generally rely on what the students report in terms of their country affiliation. We do look at IP addresses, and a lot of times, people compete from outside the US, but it's hard for us to make that determination. Of course, if you're going to the IOI, there are certain criteria that you have to satisfy to be eligible as a finalist and as a USA IOI team member. But mostly we have to rely on what the students report in that case.
Yeah, thanks, Dr. Dean, a lot. I want to take the opportunity to say we should all have a applaud for him for great work he has done for the community. And also thanks his informative and also invaluable feedback and also his opinions on all these questions. These are extremely important to the parents and students. Yeah, thank you for attending today's event. And also we would like to thank our partner, Stanford Proco, UC Berkeley Calico Lit, and also Teams Code and HBI. Yeah, thanks everyone. And our next part will be our principles to go over some of our curriculum and also if for parents, students, if you are interested in XCamp, and also for the current student, if you are interested in the next class of the quarter, then feel free to stay and listen to our principals, Dr. Charlie Guo, to talk about XCamp. And thanks, Dr. Ding, again for attending today's event. It's really a pleasure to see you here. Thank you so much.
Thank you again, and to all of you on the call, thank you so much for your support of USACO and of probably your children for participating. So thank you again. It's been a pleasure.
Yeah, it's a lot of us. Thank you in the Zoom chat.
Thank you. Have a good night. Yeah,
Okay, so I will stop my
screen now.
share, and Charlie, I will let you, hand it off to you.
Yes, thank you. Hey everyone, it's our tradition after each event, we will have our open house. In this XCamp open house, we would like to share with you about XCamp achievement, XCamp class structure, especially how we work together to help our kids learn coding. First, I may spend about 10 minutes to explain our classes, especially the philosophy behind that. Then we will have a QA sessions. So you can ask anything about the class, about the learning, about the collaborations between us and the parents and the students, how we achieve kind of advanced, not only the coding skills, but also problem solving capabilities for our kids. First, I like to say, it's also our tradition, after each event, if you sign up our class, you will have $50 discount. Now we have our online summer fall weekend class. It's registration. We have only 1 week before we close this registration. Also, we will have our on-site summer camp. It's from July 22nd to the August 2nd. It's in California. So in this 2-week camp, we will have from the beginner level to bronze, silver, gold, and platinum. From our experience, this camp is very, very helpful for the students to not only learn coding, but also make friends, know the teachers, especially as Dr. Ding just mentioned, we need practice to achieve good USACO scores. This is the best time for your kids to learn. Also this year, it's the first time we will have 1 week summer camp in Boston. It's the end for August from 19th to the 23rd. Yes, you can scan our code bar here to register to our class. You have $50 saved if you register today. Also, I like to say for all of our students, we have a placement test. The reason is we believe the best class, the suitable class for each student is best for them. Through the placement test, we know the student levels, know the student background. I know we have 15 problems in our placement test. It usually takes 2 to 3 hours. It's a long test, but this is the right way to diagnose our students, your kids' backgrounds, such that we can put them into the right class. Yeah, please scan our QR code. So we will send you the placement test link. Also, we will send you a USACO toolkit. There's a lot of QA questions and answers about USACO, including previous Dr. Dean's answers to some of questions there too. Here again, in the past 7 years, we have more than 300 students entered silver and above. We have 60 students in the USACO Platinum. And in the past 4 years, we have 27 national finalists joined USACO camp. This year, we have 14 students. One also was selected to EGOI, and one was selected to IOI this year. We are so glad to have this achievement. You know, 7 years ago, you and I, we just as a hobby to teach my kids and his friend coding. We both worked in Google, but it's kind of a surprise after we put some time and effort to help our kids. They can achieve more. They have big potentials. I like to say every kid is a genius. if we give them the right resources, right support. Here's achievements. We have like 13 times students got top 10 in the last USACO season. I will skip this achievement again. Okay, I will spend some time on this class structure. So when we decide the class with Yuan, we thought the knowledge foundation is very important. We want our students to learn the data structure and the algorithms. We want to have a full cover of that. So we design our class in kind of 4 levels. For the beginner level, it's taught in Python. We have CS 100 Python, 101 Python, and 102 Python. This give our students the introduction about the Python. Also in the 100 plus, we call it visualization. We use a Python turtle to teach kids coding with drawing beautiful scenes, drawing toys, drawing even dynamic scenes. So it's pretty fun class. The major purpose is to inspire our students the interest, inspire them to have fun, would like to learn coding. From the 101, we introduced the basic data structure. In the 102, we started to teach kids the sorting algorithms. So after these classes, the students shall have a solid foundation, not only in Python, but also in the data structure and some simple algorithms. In our intermediate level class, we have CS 200, 201, and 202. These 3 classes is focused on recursion, breadth first search, and depth first search. These are the foundations for, I believe, most of the algorithm, even for the lay down, the DP, graph, etc. So this we call the intermediate level. So it will cover most of the like bronze USACO contest knowledge, but it's beyond that. Also, we put a lot of time and effort on the exercises. When the students finish enough exercise, enough problems, they can totally understand like the recursion concept, understand the BFS and the DFS. For the advanced level, we have 8 classes here, mostly focused on the silver and the good level knowledge. So we will provide the foundations for each concept, for each knowledge points. At the highest level is the competitive level. Now we call it 602 and 603. Mostly it's focused on the US camp level, also some good level knowledges, platinum and US camp levels. So at these 4 levels, we cover knowledge first, then we will add the homework as practices. On the right side, also we noticed only learn the knowledge is not enough. So we have on the right side, we have the summer camp and the winter camps. We have 2 weeks summer camp and 1 week winter camp. So this is mostly practice. Also, this is sharing between the students, knowing the teachers and the whole system very well. In addition, we have USACO mock tests. It's from October to March. Every weekend, we have 1 mock test. So this kind of a practice gets students to adjust to kind of a contest, homework and some camps. This is different from the mock test. Or mock tests have like specific timing. Also, the contest experience is important too, because sometimes the student might not know which problem is difficult. They might spend too much time just in one problem and waste the time to solve the others. So this kind of mock test give us the students more experience on attending the contest and achieve good scores in the contest. In addition, we have APCS classes. This is mostly for our high school students who want to achieve, pass APCS in the high school. Okay, so we have all these levels. Also, I mentioned placement test is important. We use 15 problems to know which level the student will be assigned to. Besides the class, we believe that other support is necessary for the students to learn such. Alex is very deep knowledge. Our students is from 5th, 6th grade to high school students. They just in for 5 years from knowing nothing of coding to this USACO Platinum or even US camp level. All these kind of achievements is not only teaching class, we also need other supports. First, we have our discourse platform, so the student can post their questions in that platform. We will, we have teachers to monitor that and reply as soon as possible. Also, we have homework night. Every night from 5 p.m. Western time, the student can join our Zoom and ask questions. So then we'll have recommendations to the students to do research, and they can attend competitions for better chance of winning. Also, we have deep collaborations with top universities like Stanford and Berkeley in competitions. In addition, we also have TA opportunities for the students to earn volunteer hours, also to learn to help the students, our current students. Here's one example. So our students, Albert Huang, he was in the USACO Gold, but also he participated our research opportunities with professors and got accepted to Caltech through the mostly his research achievement. Also, we support our students and the parents as a community. Like we have like events like today. Also, we have 100 challenge, mock tests, and other activities. I think we talk a lot about USACO. I may skip this page. So if you have more questions, you can ask me. A lot of parents ask how USACO contests help college application. This page will list historical finalists of USACO. You can see most of them, they accept to top tier colleges. For this year, we have 11 students accepted to MIT. 7 of them last year, they were accepted to USACO US camp. So you can see this is highly correlated. Also, our class, if you compare with the MIT's computer science class and Stanford's computer science class, we are teaching students the college level algorithms and the data structure. It's very, very comparable. In addition, I like say learning coding, learning USACO will help our students in other extracurricular activities. For example, a lot of students like robotics. So robotics, they have a software team. We have example like Kayla. She learned just in 1 year in XCamp, but later on she feels she's more interested in robotics. Then she joined her school's robotics team and became the software team lead because her strong coding background. Finally, she led the team was selected in a final international contest. So she was accepted to CMU. She's learning in CMU now. Another is the Jerry. He learned coding in XCamp for 2 years, got into the USACO Gold level. He liked to do hands-on, do work on things. So he applied internship in a company for 3 years in high school. He's in Georgia Tech now. Finally, also I mentioned, coding can help students do research. Albert is another example I just mentioned. Okay, also I like to say, USACO will help your career. So we can help you on high-tech company interviews. Also, they can help you. You can see our USACO silver level. It's match like Google, Facebook, their interview questions very, very well. In other words, after you finish our class 302, most of our students, I like to say, could pass Google, Facebook, these high-tech companies algorithm and data structure interview. So also, through our program, you can learn Python, Java, and the C++. This kind of language is helpful for your future career. Okay, that's all I want to share. So we have some time, 15 or even more time for you to ask questions about the XChem's class, how kids learn coding, or any question you have in your mind. You may type your questions in the chat. Let me look at the chat. Christopher asked question, will you offer online camp this summer? So we have not planned it yet, because from our previous experience, online camp, the learning is not that effective as on-site. However, we all know most of you are not in, say, California or not in Boston. It might be pretty burden for you to travel to these two locations. Since you asked, we may consider, if like a lot of requests, we may consider to have an online camp this summer. Thank you. Okay, great. Let me see next question. Yes, I got a private question. Do you accept students who have already passed the platinum level and are aiming for the camp? What kind of support can provide such students? Okay, that's a good question. I think that's one of the strengths of XCamp. If you look around, XCamp is the only company provides the support at the gold and the platinum level. As I mentioned, last year we have 14 students join the US camp. So we have a systematic way for these platinum level students. So not only the knowledge, but also the practice, the mock test, and we have a coach. We have a teacher, and we have teachers and the coaches to support these students. Please add our assistant. We would like to talk to you to see how we support your child, because there's very few students, in the platinum level. We are happy to support. We have a summer camp in South Bay. Sorry, I didn't mention South California, in North California, in the San Francisco Bay Area, in the South Bay. Yeah. Okay, any other questions? You can turn on mic if you like to ask question directly. Another question, private question to me is there a one-on-one tutor available? The answer is yes. If your child do need a one-on-one tutoring, we have these services. However, I like to say from our experience, one-on-one tutor is not the best solution for most of the students, because the student not only learning from the teacher, but also the communication between the students. Also, some competitive situation among the students help the students a lot, because they have the reference from their peers. If only one student and one tutor, sometimes they might lose their reference. Yeah. Okay, any other questions? Yeah, you may turn your mic, ask me question directly. No more questions? Yeah, as I mentioned, our core course is from the CS 101 to CS 603. It's from beginner to USACO bronze, silver, gold, platinum, US camp levels. So these levels, our weekend class is online. However, we have our the camp, summer camp is on site in person in San Jose. It's in San Francisco area. Also, we have Boston. Now we start to open our in-person class, weekend class from the fall to we are started from also the San Francisco Bay Area, Seattle, Boston. If there's enough students, also Toronto, we will open our classes in person. Okay, great. If no more questions, we may stop here. Last call. Any questions? No. Okay. Thank you all. Thank you so much for attending this event. Also, yeah, Dr. Dean left, but I also want to say thank Dr. Dean again. He put a lot of time and effort. He has been working on USACO for 20 years. Each season, we know how busy he is. Also he answers every student's questions. So that's amazing. That's a role model for a lot of us. He puts that time and effort to help our kids. Okay, thank you all. Hope you have a nice weekend. Bye.